Did I ever tell you guys about the time I saved a guy's marriage?
No,
Yes.
do tell.
All right. So, of course, it was open enrollment.
Of course.
And
Nothing brings
that's
people
how
together.
I know,
like
nothing
saving up for
exactly.
benefits. Every for another year.
every good HR story starts with
Open enrollment.
open enrollment. And, of course, I was calling everyone who hadn't yet enrolled that was previously enrolled. And
Chasing.
Look at you.
I know. I was kind of a superstar when I was in the benefits department, but I called and I called this man and he answers and he's like, hello. So then I, of course, start fucking whispering and I'm like, hi, is this so-and-so? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, hey,
You met him where he was.
I wanted to let you know that you haven't completed your benefits enrollment and this is the last day to do it. And he was like, I'm in the deer blind. Can I call you back? And so I was like, oh, of course, sir. Okay. So I really didn't think he'd call
Priorities.
back.
Yeah.
And I had a list. So I was very young. This was early in my career, my first job out of college. And I worked for a large farm chain, which, by the way, best job I've ever had. And so I really did not expect this man to call me back. But sure shit, he did. And so I was walking him through getting his benefits enrolled and got him and his whole family of like 28 kids.
Of course.
And we're going down the dependent list, and I see that his wife's birthday is that day. And I was like, holy shit. Well, of course, I didn't say that. I was like, hey, your wife's birthday is today. And
Probably
he
could have
goes,
said that to him.
yeah, probably. He was like, oh, shit. And he slaps his hand on his desk, and he goes, I got to go down to the Walmarts. The Walmart.
Always
Walmart.
the
These
Walmart.
And it's plural.
That's a big town. because
Yeah.
most
Well, yeah,
towns
if they
just
have
the
a
one,
Walmart.
The
yeah.
one.
Yeah. Walmarts. I got to go to the Walmarts. So not only did she get her whole family enrolled in health insurance for
On
the
her
next
birthday.
year, but I also got her a birthday gift. So I saved his marriage that year.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Congratulations to me on that one.
Did he send you some venison? So
Unfortunately, I,
right?
did not get shit from that.
Of course not.
Not even a
Of
good
course
job.
not.
Seems like a miss.
No,
Yeah.
so typical HR professional. Yeah, yeah. You got no appreciation.
Of course.
limited people.
Oh, but way to do your HR due diligence.
I know.
I know
right?
the personal
That's
phone call for
concierge right
I'm
there.
curious.
That's
super
concierge.
Curious. I'm super curious for those people listening right now that are like, my benefits person has never called me.
Oh, I
about
know. Same.
About my.
And we had a lot of employees. So the list was about 90 people.
Oh
Yes.
man, doing the Lord's work right
Yep.
there. Look at you.
100%.
Oh. Yes, yes, hard stop. Okay, well then why don't you go ahead and kick us off and run through the agenda for this meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to start with our cringy corporate speak. And then we're going to roll into our hot topic today where we are going to take a deep dive into Dave Ramsey's 12 components to a good hire. And let me just say, this list is horrendous.
Oh, I can't wait. And then, of course, at the end, we're absolutely going to do our questions and comments. So should we kick it off? Ashley, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. So for our cringy corporate speak, I'm going to use a term that you hear a lot in corporate by some of those male leaders who, when it's time for them to go to the restroom, they let you know that they're going to hit the head.
No. No. Hard stop.
If we are in a meeting and you have to go to the restroom, whatever you have to do, I don't need to know that you're about to go do that. You can just say, can we take a quick break? And that suffices. But going to hit the head, no, thank you. You guys hear that?
Am I dumb that I don't even know what that means, though? Like, hit the head is like... That the head is just the toilet.
The penis head?
I know. That's what I was going to say, but you said it for me. Things I just don't know even what that means.
Is it urinal?
Is it a urinal?
I don't know.
See, it just
I have
like
to squat to pee.
I know. I said. But anyway, TMI. But yes. So that is a very cringy.
I've heard it. I've heard it with male leaders, and I literally will say, "Please, no, please don't say that." So, what do you want me to say?
Equally cringy is bio break.
No,
I know.
Just say you're using the restroom.
no, that one's especially
just
they
say, I need
that
a quick
at a
break.
conference with lots of people, and I'm like, I don't need to look around the room in visual. Again, is everyone just going to wash their hands? That's what all I want to say. Just wash your hands, please.
Please,
just take a break. Take your time in the blanks.
my gosh.
But I think it is. I don't know. I think that means a urinal. But I'm gonna have to.
we're gonna get so DM. We're going to get DM'd like crazy
I
now.
need to know what that.
Please explain what. Is that a penis head?
No,
we do not want pictures.
No one explained this to us. After this, we are going to Google it ourselves. Do not send us anything about what that means.
Enough.
Okay, yes.
Fair
Okay.
close.
Oh, well, on that note, Jamie, over to you with our hot topic. What's the brilliant Dave Ramsey sharing with us now?
So Dave Ramsey is obviously known for his financial advice, and many
Air
people,
quotes.
yes, loosely, many people look to him for financial advice. And so when I stumbled upon this list, I was actually quite horrified. We're going to go over it. And this is 12 components of a good hire, and there's some pretty crazy ones in here. So let's kind of lightly go over the ones that aren't as terrible.
Okay. Oh, so there's good ones.
Yeah. Well, how do you find when you stumble across this? Are you looking for Dave Ramsey to give you daily life tips, or are you
Absolutely not. This was sent to me.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, whoever sent this to me, because I don't remember and I cannot give you credit.
You didn't need this advice as an HR professional,
No.
though. Okay.
No.
Do you know how to do this?
Mansplain.
You didn't need this man's
absolutely
exactly.
was not on the Google
Okay.
saying, what are the 12 components of a good hire?
I wonder what Dave thinks about this, right? Because
Yeah.
he's so great with
Yes.
people.
And,
Okay.
and his advice.
Does he tell us what hit the head means in these?
It may be one of the 12. It may be one of the
that alone.
Unfortunately, no.
Finally, he adds value. Okay. Oh, man.
All right. So number one on this list is pray.
And there was literally crickets in the HR.
Just pray for what?
So
Pray together.
well, he's actually saying pray to God that they send you the team members that you need to do the work, which, okay, great.
So if I don't believe in God, though, then
Yeah.
I'm screwed, like already at the first
Exactly.
one? Oh, damn.
Like-
Wait,
okay.
but is this like a Mary Poppins comes like you don't need to like save a job posting? Like no need to job post because this
No, 'cause
person
you
is
can
going to
just
show
show
up.
It's just gonna
like
show up.
Moses in the
Absolutely.
basket.
They're
They're
gonna
going to read
fly
down the river.
Oh, that
Fall
would be
from
nice.
the sky onto your lap. Oh, that's
Yes.
probably not appropriate.
Immaculate candidate.
Oh, yeah.
Immaculate candidization. I love that.
I love it.
Yes. Yeah. So, we do have a term in HR. I don't know if y'all use it, but we do say post and pray.
Yeah, post and pray.
Yeah. So
But
somewhat
the
similar,
post is
just
the
as
part-
lazy.
The post is the first part of it, but Dave said, no,
Yeah,
it's fine.
but-
They will just build it. They will come.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't
yes.
even have to build it. They will come.
Oh, that's what she said. Okay.
Okay.
So number 2.
Okay, number 2 is get referrals. It's like, yeah, no shit, Dave.
That's a legit one, right?
Yeah,
Because what do
that's
they
legit.
say? Who knows the percentage? 90% of jobs are,
100%.
obtained by networking
What, 90%
or
or 100%?
connection. Right?
I will absolutely say that my last 2 jobs is I was a referral. I think especially
Absolutely.
later in your career,
1,000.
it's very helpful to be a referral.
But I love this, the list that you sent and you shared this, received this and you cascaded this onto us. I appreciate that. But I love that this one starts with thoroughbreds run with thoroughbreds.
Yeah.
So
It makes me want to vom.
God. Is that what that literally says?
it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Oh.
I mean, I'm from Kentucky, so while I love the idea of that,
Off to the races.
also only using referrals tends to be a breeding ground for higher discrimination
favoritism,
and hiring.
nepotism.
The good old boys club,
Yeah. So
which I'm sure there's a lot of.
We're just making assumptions, but I'm glad we have the legal expert in the room. That
Yes,
is
thank you so much.
that is true.
this. If they have a referral and give them cash, if they complete the 90-day probation period, which is 100% a topic for another day,
Yes,
give the referring team member a cash bounty
a bounty.
A bounty.
No, thank you. I do not want a goat.
and hand it out in front of the whole team. Here you go. Make that
Goat.
bounty. Can you
bounty.
imagine if someone found you?
Like, what are we, pirates all of a
I
sudden?
know.
Well, and I have scurvy too. God, I mean, what the
but
hell?
doesn't that feel kind of tacky?
no,
Like,
like,
I
it
would
is.
prefer you do this job.
It is. It
Watch me
is.
get $1,000 for you staying 90 days.
Oh, God.
The bounty in front of everybody. Yeah.
But we do believe in networking. Referrals are
For sure,
great.
for sure.
Yeah, that's
Referrals,
legit.
yeah,
It's important.
That's,
Incentives are
Vouching.
important, but like,
100%.
sorry, it wasn't you, sucker. Maybe next time.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
But also, we know that there are certain people we would never refer to a job. Right? Like, we
Oh,
all
yeah.
have that one friend that's
Oh,
like,
of
oh, could
course.
you get me a job? And you're like, yeah, send me your resume. but we're not going to do shit with it because we know what kind of employee
You're going to circle file it.
Yeah. Or we've made that decision, that mistake once in our life because I did. With one of my best friends. I got him a job, and he. And I knew better. And I knew better.
And you didn't have that direct conversation.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's an awkward.
So Dave. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
But do you need Dave Ramsey to give you that? I feel like that's pretty common sense.
No, that's a fucking no-brainer.
Advice.
Yeah, that one is solid. That's sound.
But, so number 3 is actually, it's not problematic, but it's a little confusing. So it says, do a 30-minute drive-by interview. I'm not sure drive-by.
Sounds violent. It sounds violent.
One of those sad COVID birthday parties.
Yeah. Oh my God. I went to drive-by shootings. I mean, that shows you where I maybe was born and raised. But yes, more like that. That sounds more pleasant.
The sad one with the signs in the front yard. That was a good part of it.
The sad hi. Yeah, like hanging out my sunroof.
Air hug.
Is this on a phone screen?
Yeah, this is just a fucking phone screen. And he's saying a drive-by.
A drive-by interview. Okay, so he doesn't
just
know.
saying have a 30-minute call with the candidate. Make sure you're learning about them on the call, and you're telling them.
You have to get to know them.
Yeah.
Oh, that is freaking brilliant.
It's mind blowing.
I love. You know what I love? What I love in this list is a good emphasis. Like just in case you weren't paying attention, it starts off never. He repeats it twice. Never hire someone after just one interview.
Oh, God. But also don't do it after 20. I know exactly. And what if he prayed about it?
Yeah.
They were delivered. It's an immaculate candidate.
They don't need the second coming to just bring this is the first time.
Just bring.
I mean, how many times for certain jobs, how many times are you going to bring somebody back?
God, well, I'll tell you in a couple times. It's at least 30 or 40. Why did I do that?
Be sure not to go over the 30 minutes.
Yeah,
okay. So they have a hard stop.
I got a hard stop. If you hear my buzzer going off.
Can you imagine talking to Dave and you feel like you have good vibes? Dang. All of a sudden it goes off and he's like, I'm going to cut you down.
For real, like a conveyor belt. But you've got to wonder about someone who doesn't know the term phone screen giving you advice on how to hire somebody. Yeah. I mean, that is what that is.
In there, you'll be amazed at what you learn in that call. I have a lot of phone screens in my life.
Actually, you will be amazed. Yeah. You will be shocked. Okay,
that is
shocked
literally
and
the point.
Right. You'll be clear on whether to set up that second interview. But also, I feel like a lot of times people come off and they're like, yeah, maybe we'll give them a second one just to be sure.
Give them a real interview.
If it's not a heck yes, it's a no. It is a no
because it couldn't be a hell yes.
You will be shocked at what you can find out in 30 minutes. I bet you've had some good.
I have. Yeah,
My favorite are the ones that you literally feel like you're pulling teeth to get answers out of candidates in a phone screen. Those are my favorite because I'm like, great. So tell me about this job, and they're like,
do you say it like that? Like you're on OnlyFans or something? I mean, that was
I want
really
to sound
sensual.
As sexy as possible.
I know it sounded so adorable. It was like Betty Boop or so. I loved it.
Tell me about audience. You're missing me shaking my boobies.
Gosh.
I mean,
good morning if you're driving to work.
But it's. I don't know.
Oh, God.
All right. Let's go to number.
But here's my thing, though. But to your point, though, in these interviews, I am shocked at people that show up that don't seem to have done any amount of preparation. I think this is neat because, as you can probably tell, I am very into the research. I dive deep. I go real deep. And if I have a 30-minute interview, I have looked up. My problem with it is I have to make sure not to drop the facts that have not been revealed to me,
100%.
but I have found from publicly available sources. And pretend like I'm surprised when they mention something that we have in common, that I've walked them down.
You're doing a merger. Oh, my God.
My God, 100%.
I'm shocked.
All of us are elder millennials, so that was drilled into our heads.
I prefer geriatric.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm a Spice Girl millennial. But it was drilled into our heads in probably college that we need to do our research. But it's so surprising. And hey, do you know about our company? And then I have to go into a 30-minute spiel about even what we do and what this job is. Like, did you read the job description? Even skim it? No. Nope. Right. All right.
This company's very exciting. I'm like, well, the best.
I couldn't tell you what we do.
The best are people so excited about the company. Well, especially if you're going into HR or legal, let me tell you what, you are not going to have an exciting. It's exactly the same. The best interview I ever read was this woman named Louise Firestone. I love that name. She was the general counsel of Louis Vuitton, and she wrote this interview. It was fantastic. But in it, she people are like, oh, that must be amazing. And she's like, my job is literally no different than being general counsel of a toilet paper factory, because every time when you're dealing with people issues or legal, it's not like, oh, let me tell you about this exciting.
We're not reinventing the wheel, right?
You got to be into the absolute basics. But it is amazing the people that show up, and they probably sleep a lot better at night than
Ashley,
I do.
They do. But Ashley, I've had someone forget their name. Okay, so I mean,
well, Jamie forgot my name.
I know. Okay, Heather. Oh gosh, but for real, it would shock you.
It is. I think you could totally do. You could 100% do an OnlyFans that is a G-rated OnlyFans, and it's just
is that a thing?
Peaks.
I would, no pun intended.
You know
peaks.
me. I would have a G-rated OnlyFans.
I know.
I'm the
where you're like reading children's books, but that's someone's kink. That's someone's kink.
Oh, for sure.
No shame, not kink shaming.
A peek into interviews and the things that will shock people, that people will reveal about themselves in a 30-minute profile.
Yeah.
So Dave is right. You will be amazed.
You will be
amazed. Best advice so far.
Because I've gotten a lot of good stories.
You will be praying after that.
In my 20 years.
We're basically basing a pod off it. Yep.
Dave's right.
Lots of stories.
Dave's right on number 3.
Check. All right. So number 4, also a no-brainer. Check the resumes and references. Resumes give you an overview of the candidate's formal training, skills, and certifications. Like, oh, is that what those are for? Damn, I've been using them wrong.
I know. I just thought the resume was a list of shit I never want to do again.
Exactly.
Is this the kind of stuff that makes you become a billionaire by having this kind of,
insight?
Yeah.
Really, boy.
I will give it. But the reference piece now, can we circle back around to that, right? Because I hate doing references. I don't think I've ever done that in my life. I have personally never requested that. I think it's the biggest waste of time.
Because let's be honest, the people that you're going to pick to be your references
your mom, your bestie,
they're literally going to be the people that would co-sign your bullshit, right? So like they're the people that are going to ride or die for you, and they're going to give you the best reference. So do they really tell the whole story?
I would say in like 80% of jobs, just random percentage, pick any high percentage. It's not necessary. I can see some fields or professions where you may want a reference.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, like the show Suits. If the show Suits, it's a whole series based on this thing of a guy that did not have a law degree. And so if he's
got that memory.
Yeah, he has a great memory, and he was good looking, and he
was hot, so it's fine.
all of that. And so that's fair, but you would have saved yourself, a whole
like the background check could have figured that out.
Series on that. But this makes me laugh because people can say anything. I mean, Dave has some nugget. People can say anything.
That is true. That is true.
People can also put anything on a resume that said that they did
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, people will tend to this. But I love he's like, occasionally when you check a reference, they'll find a candidate didn't tell them to expect a call or email. Or the candidate may even include someone who doesn't have nice things to say. These are often signals to run in the opposite.
That has never happened in the history of the world. That is not a thing.
These are often signals. If you called someone's reference and they have bad shit to say about somebody, tell me about the exception. These are often signals to run in the opposite direction. No. That's pretty much every time. That person does not know how to pick their friends. They do not have truth tellers around them. Mm-hmm. And so that's
they're low in critical thinking.
Check the resumes and references. But here's a real question though, is a lot of those companies have policies that will say only dates and title and salaries if you have it. So I'm curious what Dave would say about that if you call. He'd probably take that as a negative.
Probably.
Dave, feel free to write us.
Oh, I know, right? Let us know what you think. Oh,
but most people would just give the reference. I would be like, oh, our policy is this, and y'all be like, no, let me tell you. I'll tell you the real deal. But I'd be pointing to that policy.
Waste of time, my opinion.
So I'm jumping because we have to get this in. This one blew my little mind. Review their personal budget. Yeah, the candidate's budget. You're going to request.
I'm not even reviewing my personal budget. Okay.
Wait, okay.
You don't want to see my budget. TJ Maxx, Home Goods.
Why would I review somebody else's? I'm not even doing my own finances.
I know, right? I'm living by a prayer.
Can the candidate afford to live on the salary you provide? If not, sooner or later, they'll blame you for not paying enough. Blame?
Yeah.
Oh,
hey,
please.
Hey, Dave, I don't know if you know this, but we're in this thing called a recession and inflation. And like literally no one can afford food and shelter.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I'm going to blame my job that the cost of living has risen and you have not provided me a raise.
I can't believe he didn't put here that they will start stealing from you.
That's right. That is 100%.
Right? I'm sure that was the next line. He just didn't put it.
Free oranges.
It says when people are worried about their bills, they're distracted and can't give their best. They can take your best, though. They can 100%.
100%. They will take all of your best.
Well, thankfully, no one's living a paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no
so
one
that's
is.
not a thing.
Especially not for Dave Ramsey.
I am trying to fathom. I can imagine the lawsuit that's like someone is trickling down and they're like, I sat down in paragraph 5. I then sat down and he made me put my bank logins and we reviewed my QuickBooks.
Gosh, could you imagine?
How does this possibly work for you and your personal budget?
But like, can you imagine Dave Ramsey like going over your like personal budget? Like, oh, your house is $500,000. Oh, and your car payment is and your husband's car payment. Like, can you imagine
in an interview?
He'd be like, oh, we got to get our envelope system going for you.
Your therapist bills. We should adjust that. How much are your medication? What medications are those that you're on? Why are those so expensive?
What about all these stripper receipts?
That is so cringy, though.
OF.
Oh, I know, right?
A lot of income from OF.
I know, right?
I'm at what point? So, also, at what point in the interview process is this at the offer stage, or are you going to knock yourself out in that 30-minute drive?
Yeah,
like, just sketch me out, send me your receipt.
What is this going to affect, right? Like, this is after all the interviews, after they already want to hire you, and then all of a sudden this?
This is before you extend the offer, because you can't extend the offer and then say, well, we're rescinding the offer. Your budget sucks.
Is this not just a credit check?
Yep, basically that's a credit check.
It is, which is weird. I mean,
let's jump back in. So using testing tools. So you need enough relational.
That is not a word. Relational intelligence. So you know what he used? You know what he used? He did that mouse. I don't know if it's left click or right click. He got synonyms. He had another word in there before he picked relational. That was not his first choice of word. No way.
He suggests the DISC personality assessment because of course he fucking does the DISC.
Of course.
I'm sure you all have done the DISC before.
I am. Yeah. I have.
And like the Gallup strengths. So I don't know. I don't mind assessments. I don't think they ever tell you the full story. I'm not opposed to saying absolutely no to assessments, but I do think like some of them are literal bullshit. So I'm going to pass over that one unless we have any comments or questions.
Well, I'm going to look at the attorney here. I mean, there are like cases out there, right, where testing was intentionally used for discrimination, eliminate like types or groups of people, right? I mean, people can really exploit the use of testing tools, no? Yeah. So there are absolutely legal issues when you come to testing. So some is this idea of a test, and it can be too intentionally. I mean, and candidly, you read through this list that's like right fit, thoroughbred with thoroughbred. I mean, to me, as I look through that, I would not want to defend that type of claim 100%. Because it tells me that you are looking for a very similar type of person, which candidly in leadership or in general workforce doesn't tend to work out, because even if that's your customer base is going to be very varied. And so if you have all sort of people in a certain profile, you're not going to have any insight into your customer base. But the other is sometimes it is not even intentional, but can have an impact. So anytime you have to have a test, if it comes back and people are like, hey, wait a second, but this test, albeit the good intentions you have, or because I saw this on Dave Ramsey's page and he told me this is a fantastic idea, but if it has an effect of screening out women, minorities, certain groups, then someone brings a claim, you have to then be able to show, if you've chosen to use this test, hey, this test is validated and it shows these absolute real skills. And let me tell you who probably does not do that, which is many organizations that use these tests that don't understand it. But in this, the problem I have in part is he says the right tools can help you figure out if someone's a good fit and role. So he's starting out this whole list about like these 30-minute drive-bys and being very cognizant of your time. He does not seem to be thinking about the candidate's time. Mm-hmm.
And as anyone knows who interviews, it feels often like it is a huge waste of time. And sometimes it depends on roles. Like he gives this example, like if you have someone crunching numbers, like fair enough, you should probably figure out certain ways to make sure they're good at finance. But a lot of people that are made to do this test, or he's like, oh, you could give assignments in writing, copy editing, presenting,
free labor.
presenting.
I hate that. It's exploitative.
Web development.
It's exploitative.
Who are you making to go create web development? I remember talking to someone that had interviewed. This is a legal job, and they interviewed for this legal job, and they were told in the interview, and this is like, probably like step 7 of 14 or whatever this job, that they were meant to feel like was a reality show, that they should be lucky to win the opportunity to have this job.
Of course.
And so at this one step, they said, okay, the next step in our process is sometime in the next, I can't remember if it was like 7 days or 48 hours or whatever. You're going to get 72 hours. You're going to get an assignment from us. And when you get that assignment, you then have 8 hours to complete it. So you can get a sense.
The CIA or something? I mean,
I know.
Like, tell me what software solution you are putting out there that is such a groundbreaking thing that you, and he got the email at 7 a.m. on a Saturday. And I found out about this ages after the fact, because he's like a freaking idiot. I spent my whole time away from my family, sweating, getting all stressed out in this, until I realized that assignment is a fantastic idea. If you want to give a signal to people, run. It is absolutely inappropriate. And it is so
it's exploitative. No kidding. That company is using all of those ideas, all the case studies, all the essays, all your prove your innovative ideas, prompts and all that. And they're using them for free.
100%. Well, and people are like, well, then, and the
it's
fair
such a
question,
startup thing to do.
But what you hear from people, which I think is fair, is sometimes I get so irritated by these things, because I know what it's like as a candidate. I also have, we all know friends and family that have interviewed and have these experiences. But fair enough, sometimes people will say, I never thought of it that way. Okay, well, think about it now. But I've never thought of it that way. So how can you test people if you don't have assignments? And I say, literally, what if you had this assignment? What would be your process? Like, what would you walk me through what your steps would be? Give them example. Have them talk to you in a few minutes to talk to me about this software. You can do that in so many ways without having this person
complete 8 hours worth of work for free.
Totally. And if you're telling me I'm going to be spending 8 hours at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, but the problem is so many people don't have they don't have the choice, or they're set up in this process where they feel like it's a prize. And so I do not care for that, because he says like blah, 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 to test the chops of candidates who rolls.
The chops.
Yeah. It's like, it's gross. Because it's going into everything, being suspicious of these people. Like, I bet, make
trying
sure
to catch somebody.
100%.
Don't worry. This list gets worse.
God. Well, not to be radical, but I absolutely am, because I'm such a candidate experience focused person. Candidates should be compensated.
100%.
Facts. I think you should be compensated by hour. Maybe it's like jury duty. You get $5 an hour. No. It should be legitimate. But you know what I'm saying?
Like $7.50 at least.
And also, I think a lot of times, like, I've had to remind the hiring manager that these people did not just apply for our position. They probably applied for several positions. So we need to be, first of all, we need to be timely. We need to make sure we're making time on our calendars, because yes, we're busy, but they could get gone like that.
Right. And then they get real frustrated. They're like, you'll hear from us by Friday, but then you might hear from them for weeks. But then if the candidate doesn't have the exact availability, I'll frustrate. Also, there's a link in this article to the DISC personality assessment.
So it's just a sales thing.
I don't see a disclosure. I don't see a compensation disclosure.
That's cute. Yeah. Well, let's pop to number 6 is ask yourself, do you like them? Hire people you like. It's that simple.
Oh my God.
Then why are there 11 other steps? Should that not have been the first one if it's that simple?
I'm like, what if I only like them a little bit, but I'm pretty sure they're very qualified to do the job? I'm going to hire them. Sorry. I don't think my personal preferences are really up for debate there.
I do like hiring people that I want to work with, though.
100%.
Like that I can trust them. I want to, you know what I mean? I have to have a vibe. You know what I mean? Make sure that, there's a fit with the organization, but not just me, right? Like, I'm not going to singularly just interview somebody and they just have to fit with me. They should have multiple interviews, multiple people, different perspectives, right? But who wants to hire someone that they hate? Like, that's so like, wow, groundbreaking.
Well, that's the thing. He's like, hire people you like, basic. Then he jumps to, well, someone's good, but they're a jerk, or they have a different value system, which is so. That tells me that he thinks a great question for an interview is, tell me about your value system. If someone asked me that, I mean,
he's like, what's your religion in these meetings?
Yeah. I think I'm a decent human.
they won't like working with you either. Well, okay.
He's like, okay, then whip out your credit report.
But this is what the problem with this also is. Then you get people that are neurodivergent, which means again people who may function differently. They work differently. If someone's good at the task, but they have a different value system. First of all, there's a lot of people, for example, like tax and accounting. You may not work that closely with that person. That person may be absolutely fantastic at their job, and they don't want to hear your jokes or jokey or share their beliefs 100%. With you. And that is fine, okay. Dave. That is fine. Yeah, that is fine, Dave Ramsey. Oh, that is fine. But I mean, that 30-minute drive by. Ooh.
Bow, bow. All right, let's skip to number 7. Look for passion. Do they light up? Look for passion when they talk about the position and your company's mission. Like, hey, bro, I'm just trying to get a damn job. I got to pay my rent and my family needs food. Lack of passion is the easiest way to spot someone just looking for a job.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's spelled out.
It's better than the never.
And watch, this job pays like $40,000. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but you're supposed to have like this
they're going to blame you.
Deep
they're going to blame
seated
you
passion,
like,
for tax accounting.
I could get more on the black market for my kidney. It's like, I'm all good. Look for fired up people that love their work and own the why behind it. I'm like, do you want me to be honest? I've been in human resources for the last 20 years, and I'm not a huge fan of people.
Like that is radically candid. That is. Yeah. I mean, I love passion, but I feel like that's one of those icing things. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's an icing thing. Also, that's not going to be the number one question on my interview. No. I'm going to get the vibe if they're passionate.
Everyone can convey that. Especially if they're
it different ways. Absolutely.
They light up.
What are they, nuclear?
Yeah, I know. They snort coke in the bathroom. That's not a value for them, though.
If all they want is a paycheck, you'll never keep them happy.
I mean, you can like, if you keep that paycheck. That might for some people be that's action. I have learned that. If you look at like salespeople, for example, there are many salespeople that are purely motivated by their own compensation.
100%.
And you know what? Yeah. There's a lot of those people that are very happy. Mm-hmm. But I'm just super curious about these jolly interviews that people are having because I don't know, the lack of passion.
Well, it's the people he prayed for. So
exactly.
Let's hop to number 9. Discuss compensation. No fucking shit.
That's a good tip. Look at that.
That actually is a good one. I
haven't thought about that before. It's a good point.
But we're pro that. But so many employers aren't.
Yes.
I know some of the states are coming around.
Thank God.
I know, right?
Really, honestly. And really, though, that was when I used to do recruiting when I was an HR employee of Department of One. That was the first thing I asked on my phone screens was, how much are you looking to make in this position? Because if I know the position pays 60,000 and they want 80, I'm going to need to be honest with them. Mm-hmm. And I might as well let them go now than, lead them on this 30 people interview and then be like, oh, here's your offer of 60,000.
But let me ask you this. Do you feel like that is the right step to ask candidates first? What are you looking for?
Well, if you can post it in the job, I think that would be ideal.
Absolutely.
Our CEO was against that, unfortunately. And she wasn't a huge fan, but hopefully Tennessee will come around. And because like New York City now, you have to do it. California, Colorado.
Well, you have in Colorado. And I remember first learning about this because you would see the job postings that would say in the bottom, candidates residing in Colorado are not eligible. Of course, there I am. What does that mean? Let me Google that. And the Colorado, I don't know how it ended up getting resolved, but the Colorado, whatever Department of Labor equivalent, they came back and they were like, I don't think so. If you have that language and you're excluding candidates from Colorado, we are going to come after you. And I'm super curious how that ended up. But I all the time tell organizations, you should not be doing this because you have to. Because if you constantly are doing things like that is it candidly is kind of a bit of a red flag. Because also then your people are like, oh shoot, is this position in New York City? Like you're trying to do the dance. Just make everyone's life easier. But also, what I know you all do not care for is the big ass salary ranges. Like $50,000 to $150,000.
It's that's how they remedy that. I've seen that. I've blasted it on Humorous Resources, the 0 to 100. I'm like, no, that's not a fucking range. Surely you probably have some sort of salary bands. And there's probably, it's usually about 30 to 50 grand.
There you go, giving organizations credit.
Yeah.
Surely you have a range.
Well,
surely you've thought about this. I'm not going to be like, let's just see what the first few interviews say.
Yeah, but
Hopefully.
FYI, guys, HR does not come up with that. Okay. Thank you.
It is often that hiring manager, but sometimes people will say, like, oh, you give organizations so much credit. Why would anyone do that when they're not required? But if you look, I tell companies, you should think about that candidate experience. And every once in a while, even in this Dave Ramsey Dirty Dozen list, there's points of like, people are people. And so when they come and work with you, as you start working, like, that is often how it's going to continue. And so if people feel like that they're treated with respect and you come in that, but even for organizations that you're not bought into that and you don't believe that treated people when they're treated like humans tend to perform better, think of your own interest. Because how many times do organizations have that? And you get down the line and there's this awkward dance about what's the comp package going to be. And then you get to offer stage and they've spent all this time, you spent all this time, and you're like, oh shit, we're like $75,000 apart.
Yeah.
Oh, who would have thought?
Oh, exactly.
Like it's a wait. Then so if you care about nothing about the candidate's time, which you should, then think about your own.
Stop wasting your own time.
But setting realistic expectations.
Disclose.
But I say also providing insight into what that looks like, and don't have it be like who can negotiate better.
This whole list is weird. And, we're not even done with this list, right? I mean, we have other things that we're going to have to talk about. So may I suggest that we carry this topic over to the next meeting?
Absolutely.
Should we meet tomorrow on this? I think we should.
I do have a hard stop. I got to go hit the head.
Remember. Jamie's got to hit the head. Yes. Questions or comments? Does anybody have a question or comment?
I actually do have a comment.
Wonderful.
So Dave's headquarters is very close to where I live in Tennessee, and I frequently pass by it, and I like to flip it the bird.
Full stop, period.
Do you pray after doing so?
No, I do not.
That's a good one and very relevant. Ashley, any questions or comments for us today?
Yeah. So I have a comment that someone passed me a note for, but I'll go ahead and take credit as a true leader. That head, as in hitting the head, is military slang for bathroom.
Oh, so
the
it's
origins
not a
are
penis
military.
head.
It's not. It's not, Jamie. It is a legitimate reference, but I'm going to say I still legitimately shudder every time I hear it. So I think
you learn something every day.
Just taking a quick break. So the more you know.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that was totally relevant and very interesting. Awesome. Well, I have a comment and a quick question. The comment is, only you can prevent corporate speak, but say that like a bear would, right? Say that like a bear would. And then a quick question. If someone says a corporate saying in the woods, but no one's around to hear it, did that saying even happen? Right?
No,
I mean, not to get existential here at the end of this meeting.
Leaving us with something to think about.
But yeah, I want you all to think about that tonight. Let that keep you up. All right?
Let that simmer.
Let that simmer, right? It's one of those stew it. You know what I mean? Awesome. Well, again, we have a hard stop, so we better close this meeting, but we look forward to continuing the conversation in our next meeting. Thank you so much for joining us for some business and bullshit.